Welcome to Man About Danville with Logan H. Gurman, a podcast for Danville, Kentucky and beyond. Conversations with friends, and you get to listen. Brought to you by the Logan Company, a commercial and residential real estate brokerage for Danville and Central Kentucky. 80% Danville-centric, 20% eccentric.
Good morning, Danville, Kentucky. Welcome to Man About Danville. I am the man about Danville himself, Logan H. Gurman. You are listening to the fastest growing, the most influential podcast for Danville, Boyle County, and the surrounding region of Central Kentucky. Thank you for joining me wherever you might be listening, here in Danville, Perryville, Junction City, Forkland, Parksville, Gravel Switch from the new Gravel Switch Station restaurant down there. I got to get down there. Lexington, Louisville, Indianapolis, Portland, Oregon, Nashville, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Atlanta, Denver, Memphis, Little Rock, New Orleans, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, the left coast, the Bay Area, Southern California. Wherever you're checking in, I appreciate it. Hey, send me a message on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and let me know where you're listening. I enjoy seeing where all people are listening in, and I appreciate you spending part of your day with us. I honestly consider that a very big privilege that you choose to spend part of your day with me. By the way, I posted this on my personal Facebook page. I am going to be doing a reorder of the Man About Danville t-shirts, tanks, and I'm going to be putting in an order for some zip front fleece hoodies. So if you would like some Man About Danville merch with my big face on the back, everything's going to be light gray. The lettering and graphics are in blue. It's going to have my face. If you need one of those, shoot me a message. I'm going to order just what I have pre-orders for. I'm not going to get any extra, so let me know. Orders on those close Sunday. I'm glad you're here today. This is a great episode. I've got the president of Center College, Dr. Milton Moreland, will be joining me here in a minute. If you enjoy this podcast, I hope you would consider sharing it wherever you listen. There should be a little share button. You can hit that and share it to the social media platform of your choosing. I appreciate it. It helps me grow the podcast. I'd like to dedicate this particular episode to my friend Mark Doodle Johnson. Doodle got that nickname. He was from St. Louis. We went to Rhodes together. We were classmates there, and anybody north of Dyersburg, Tennessee was basically considered a Yankee, and so he got the nickname Doodle. He could have been from Maine. It didn't make any difference. But Mark Doodle Johnson, we often found ourselves in the back of an English lit classroom together. Mark was a force of nature on the football team. He has the heart of a poet, the razor-sharp, self-deprecating, dark, sanguine, bittersweet humor of a late-night talk show host, and is a rock and roll genius with an electric guitar. We could sit around in his dorm room and throw out obscure classic rock titles, and he never missed it. Foghat, Thin Lizzy, Molly Hatchet, Eric Clapton, he knew them all. Mark is going through a tough patch. Mark is going through a tough patch at the moment. He and his fiancée, Ann, are writing things out in New Orleans, and I just want to let him, all of his family, his sons, all his friends know that I'm thinking about him and praying for him, and so are so many friends and classmates from across the country. And Mark, I hope you can feel the love radiating your way from all of us. That being said, I'd like to thank my guest, Dr. Milton Moreland, for joining me today. Let's get right to the interview. I am pleased to be joined today by the newest president of Center College, Dr. Milton Moreland. Dr. Moreland, thank you for being with me today.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
This has been an unusual time, to say the least, for you to take over here at the college. But I'd like to start with your background. In this interview, I hope that folks in and around Danville can get to know you better, know something about you and your time here at Center. You grew up in Boise, Idaho.
I did.
And then got to, at the time, Memphis State. It's always Memphis State in my heart. I lived in Memphis when it would change, and it's still Memphis State to me. How did you get to Memphis State from Idaho?
Well, it's a story that connects me to my family, for sure. My dad was a campus minister there at Boise State, and I had a great process of growing up there. Loved the outdoors, loved being in the Northwest. Definitely has a big place in my heart still, but when I was a senior in high school, my dad took a job at Memphis State as a campus minister, and I think it was a bit mysterious. Looked up Memphis in the encyclopedia, You remember those things. That looks like an interesting place. Had been there as a small child, but hadn't really been there as a teenager. So going to Memphis was an adventure. Thought I would have a completely different path in the Northwest. But when I got to Memphis, I ran into some incredible people and became a really life-changing phase of life, as college often is.
I grew up in Danville in the shadow of Center College, and I loved it, but I had to get out of town, and that's how I got to Rhodes. I started there in '89, and I didn't realize what a big difference it would make in my life, but going to school in such an urban environment as opposed to a small town environment was a wonderful opportunity for me, and even though I've since chosen to move back to Danville and raise my kids here, it was a wonderful time in my life to be in Memphis, and I lived there for 10 years. So what did you study at Memphis State?
I was a history major, although I explored widely and in some ways encouraged by my mentor and primary faculty member, Marcus Orr. He essentially forced me to look outside of my kind of comfort zone and ended up taking a lot of history classes, but also literature and a lot in the natural sciences, and clearly also had a pretty good time there. Met my wife and met a lot of interesting friends along the way. But history major, I think that has served me well through the years.
Your wife is Dina.
Yep.
And you all have 2 children?
We do, Marcus and Micah.
And they're both out of school?
They are. They, like yourself, went to that little school in Memphis, Rhodes, and both graduated, one in 16 and one in just this past year in 20s. And they're both working in Memphis still, living there, and they like the River City.
In your early 20s, there are a lot of opportunities there for all kinds of entertainment, trouble. Memphis just has a lot of opportunities for people in their 20s.
And jobs.
I don't want to get into what they're doing. Is one working for Morgan Keegan and the other for St. Jude? Or?
No, but it is nice to have a few Fortune 500 companies there. But one of them is just switching into a new startup there that's founded in Boston, Indigo Ag. The other one works for a spinoff of ServiceMaster that's headquartered there as well. So,
and then you went to, is it Claremont College?
Yeah, the Claremont colleges. There's the 5 undergrad colleges, and then there's a graduate school there, the Claremont Graduate University. So I was at the Claremont Graduate University doing my master's and PhD.
Then, long story short, you got back to Rhodes and began teaching there. And then most recently you were provost there?
Exactly. I taught for about a dozen years, founded the archaeology program there, taught in religious studies department, and kind of my primary areas are in ancient Roman archaeology and religions, but had a great career there as a professor, and then was tapped as the provost, served there in that role for the last 6 years.
So let's talk about ancient Roman archaeology.
Sure.
Go.
Well, if you're interested in ancient Roman religions and literature, it's a real treat in many respects to be able to study archaeology. When I was first at Claremont, I had a professor and good friends and others who were involved in archaeology, and they got me into the field a little bit more deeply and started excavating mostly in northern Israel, in Galilee, and had a good 20-year career in that area. Also worked in Cyprus and a little bit in Jordan. Archaeology is essentially an opportunity to add another layer to your historical reconstruction or to what you bring to your scholarship and your pedagogy, trying to help myself and help students kind of see through a different lens than just the literary sources. So I've always enjoyed working with students in the field, and even the last 15 years developed an interest in Southeastern American archaeology, so kind of transitioned, but had a great time working for a couple decades there in the Middle East. In fact, one of my good excavation partners is a faculty member right here at Center College, Byron McCain. So Professor McCain and I dug together for about a decade in Israel, and he's still active working in the field.
Coming in mid-year in the middle of the pandemic, how has your transition been to the community of Danville?
You know, I am experiencing Danville mostly through the eyes of a world pandemic, but the fact is that this community has been incredibly welcoming and inviting for Dina and me and our dog Blue. It's been, of course, a little different, no doubt, but the reality is that this is an incredible community. A lot of people out on walks, a lot of people on their porches. We've met an incredible amount of people just, being out and about, walking. Blue, our dog, introduces us to a lot of people as well. He's very friendly. So
actually, I think I've met your dog Blue on the street.
Well, there you go.
So
yeah, no, he's kind of our front person, and we just follow. But no, I think it helps that the weather has been so incredible in the last 5 months since we've been here. So it just allows us to enjoy a lot of people's porches, and we've had a lot of conversations more on the outside, but looking forward to seeing Danville in a post-pandemic way as well.
I like to think that because of Center and because of the hospital and because of our industries, Danville is used to having new people come in, and Danville welcomes new people with new ideas. We're not terribly closed off or closed down. We generally welcome new people with new ideas, and so I'm glad to hear that your experience has reflected that. How then has transitioning as the president of this institution, I know it hasn't gone exactly as you might have planned in a non-pandemic world, but how has your transition as president been through the lens of the pandemic?
Coming in during the pandemic and really actually seeing Center at work even in the spring after I was announced in February, it's actually been interesting and in a way, I think, an easier path to get to know some of the inner workings of the institution. What I regret is not having enough time to listen and just kind of hear the stories. So many of our meetings and the activities that we're involved in here as the senior staff and working with faculty and students and staff across the campus has been around emergency management and COVID planning and testing protocols and isolation and quarantine housing. And yet, you get to see people hard at work, and you get to see people who are dedicated to this place in a really deep and meaningful and really loving way. And that is great to see as a new president coming in, just to see the dedication of faculty and staff. It's a deep, passionate love for the work that we do here at Center College.
You're getting to meet people as they handle a crisis in the worst of times. You don't have to wonder if they can handle a crisis. You don't have to wonder what they're going to do when things get difficult. You're seeing them manage quite well through this crisis, and when it lifts, it's going to be full steam ahead.
I think you're right. We're talking about accelerating out of the crisis, but in this moment, I think it is kind of a learning experience for all of us, but also not a horrible way to get to know your new colleagues, and looking forward to some conversations that don't include the word COVID. This will come to pass. We're going to get out of this.
In talking with some of my friends who teach here, I know that a lot of them have kind of develop courses almost on the fly that relate in one way or another to the pandemic. I've got a friend who teaches history who's teaching a couple of courses on the Spanish flu of the early 20th century. What are some other things going on along those lines?
No, it's a great example of kind of the flexibility and the ways that faculty and staff have responded. Students as well, beginning to research COVID in the sciences, beginning to talk about it through the lens of social science research and, how's this impacting folks. But also, like you say, the historians and people teaching literature related to pandemics and kind of doing some comparative work, as well as just thinking about what's the impact right now in 2020 of living through a world pandemic. We are going to have a lot of research coming out of this in later years as well. How did the world respond to this crisis? So I think our students are finding all sorts of topics for their senior projects and their, future PhD dissertations.
Are some students that previously weren't thinking about public health careers now thinking about public health careers?
I think so. It's going to track up, I think, in the coming years, and it's one of the things that we're interested in, continuing to grow here is opportunities for students to think about medical field, and not just as MDs. We, of course, have a lot of students that go into medical school, but also opportunity to think with students about how you can use this data to begin a career in analyzing public and community health issues. So a rich moment for students who are interested in any area regarding health.
As president, will you be teaching a course yourself over the center term or at any point in the future?
I'm not teaching this year. It's been a bit busy. But yes, I hope to teach in the future, whether that be in one of our first-year seminars, or maybe I can talk myself into letting somebody let me teach a little archaeology.
Well, I was wondering if you might teach a center term archaeology course abroad and let non-traditional students kind of audit and track along with.
I like the way you're thinking there. I definitely think that we have some future capacity to build out some really interesting study programs, some of which could just be for adult learners and folks in the community, alumni, and so forth. So I'm looking forward in a post-pandemic world to exploring that. And I've definitely done a lot of touring and leading study abroad courses. So that's in my blood.
If you need I'll leave my contact information so I can get signed up. But speaking of what's going to happen in a post-pandemic world, have you been able to establish a vision or major goals for what you would like to accomplish during your term as president here?
Sure. It's always a bit fluid, of course. You want to respond to what the needs are and how students' interests change over time. But we're actually starting a year-long strategic planning process, and we've identified 7 priorities or pillars that we're going to build out. But some of those clearly include, what's the future curriculum need to look like? And we've already done a lot of curricular development here. But you think about, what new majors you might want. How does center relate to Danville and the region here? Those are big issues that we're going to take up. We certainly want center to be a lively campus and a great place for students to live. So we're going to, talk about residential life and how to ensure that every student feels like this is a great place to thrive as a student and as a human being. And we'll be talking about diversity and inclusion and equity issues as well, sustainability, how to lessen our environmental impact. So a lot of goals, but it's going to be a fun process. Even though we're starting it in the middle of a pandemic, I think it shifts our focus a little bit to look towards a 5 and 10-year future prospect.
Are you involved with the CenterWorks program or project at all?
I was fortunate as I was coming in that the project was just kind of getting off the ground and being discussed. So I got looped into all of those conversations with President Roush and our dean here, Ellen Goldie, and others who've been involved in that, Brian Huxley, our CFO. The project, it's kind of near and dear to my heart already. It's similar to some things I've done in my past careers, trying to link the liberal arts college to communities, and also trying to ensure that people in the community know that a liberal arts college is relevant, that what the students do here is relevant not only to their future careers, but that they get really engaged in problem solving and working with the community and entrepreneurial thinking while they're students. So center students are amazing, and allowing them and giving them some more opportunities to work right here in Danville is going to be terrific, I think, all around. For the students, they get to meet some incredible people like yourself, and for the community of Danville, they get a little closer work with some of our students and a little opportunity to see what these incredible people can bring during their 4 years here in Danville.
And for those that don't know, that project's going to be centered on the 3rd floor of what I call the Hub building.
Yep.
The Hub coffee shop is there, but when I was growing up, that was the town department store. It was the Hub Frankel, and so I bought every pair of shoes I owned before the age of 18. I did all my Christmas shopping, and it was all wrapped in the basement. But I'm glad you brought that up. Because I've been trying to get a gig here at the college for years now, and you all are really hung up on professors having a PhD or a terminal degree of some sort, and I'm not going to go to that much trouble. But if you need an associate professor of podcasting at CenterWorks, I'm your guy.
I love it. I love it.
And I don't have the PhD, but I got a really nice collection of tweed sport coats.
I like it. You're sporting one right now, actually. The opportunity actually to have some professionals who are really well equipped to actually help with some future classes is not off the radar.
Professional may be a bit of a stretch, but...
Well, I wasn't necessarily talking about you, but I understand there are some professionals here in Danville.
There really are a wide variety of sharp people in all facets of life here in this small town. We are a very deep community in terms of different specializations and talents. So, other than dealing with COVID, what else has kept you busy on campus?
You know, it's amazing to continue to think about having this be an extremely lively place despite the pandemic. I've had a lot of great conversations with alumni, some really special conversations about increasing and just continuing to grow our diversity and inclusion. That's been probably a highlight of my past few months, being able to talk with alumni and current students about how we can really just continue to grow Center as a place that really is representative of America and of our world. Looking forward to continuing those conversations, but they've definitely been a highlight. I've also personally found that walking around Danville, but also started jogging. I'm a almost daily jogger and hit most of the streets around Danville, just exploring the city on my in my tennis shoes. So I've enjoyed trying to stay healthy in the midst of this craziness, and Danville's been a great place to do it.
I noticed that you're working on a reconstruction project of Olin Hall. What's going on with that building, and when's it going to be ready?
We've got 3 big projects going on right now, so it's fantastic. As you kind of walk across campus, you'll see the big Olin Hall reboot. That is going to be completely redone and opened in January with science across the board. So chemistry labs, offices for faculty, physics, computer science, data science. There's a brand new environmental studies lab in there. So it's a great space. There's a lot of open common area for students to collaborate, work together, and it's beautiful. It also has our fantastic pendulum there that will be on view as you walk down Walnut. So there's a lot of really fantastic things there. Our library is closed right now. We're actually doing a major renovation in the library. And so you walk into the library and you're going to see a huge open area for what we're calling our Center Learning Commons. So students who have any issues or want any help or want a tutor or whatever they might need or however they want to offer their assistance, that'll be our central hub for that. And of course, we've got our hub building. The 3rd floor of the hub is getting ready to open up as well, which is going to be a fantastic space there for center work. So we're excited about all those projects. Great new options for students, great spaces to do work, and beautiful labs, high-tech, cutting-edge, world-class labs in the sciences. So excited about that.
And environmental studies is a newer major on campus, and data science is it's extremely new, just in the past couple of years. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, both of those are growing majors here, interdisciplinary, so you get to work with faculty from a lot of different fields. Great fields if you're looking, either to go to graduate school or straight into a career. Either area is just really terrific for students graduating and having lots of opportunities.
I can see how a data science minor or double major would work with so many different other types of majors and really just accelerate a path into a professional career if you didn't want to go into graduate school.
I agree. It doesn't really matter what you're studying. You're going to have good familiarity with how to work with data, big data, and how to become familiar. If you're a historian, archaeologist, or a chemist, or you want to go straight into business and whatever field, having that data science here, I think, is a great plus. So a lot of students here will minor in it, but a lot of them will actually major in it, and we want to offer lots of opportunities for students to be career ready when they get that diploma.
President Moreland, it's my understanding that you have founded the Happiness Committee here on campus so that students are not only occupied by studies and the worries of COVID, but have a chance to relax a bit?
That's right. A few weeks into the semester, clearly it begins to drag you down a little bit, not having the normal functions around campus. So we put together a team of staff and faculty and mostly students who think about, what can we do? I don't want to hear all the time about what can't we do. What about what can we do? So they plan a lot of events. They also give out a lot of baked goods from Berks, shall we say. So trying to keep the economy running well here, but I have had quite a few free donuts, I must say, passed out here on campus. No, it's been a great effort, and I think well appreciated by the students and many of us on campus who see these events. It's, they're socially distanced, wearing masks outside for the most part, but they get to do a lot of things that keep them active and give them some opportunities to have a healthy social life, and I'm loving it.
I drive through camp. My office is real close to here, and I drive through campus all the time, and every time I'm driving through campus, all the students are wearing a mask. They don't seem to be complaining about it at all, and every time I see them in town or what I perceive to be a center student, not downtown or not on campus, but you can kind of tell who they are around it. They always have on a mask, and they seem to be taking everything very seriously, and they seem to be taking a very responsible attitude toward everything.
Yeah, it's been a wild semester, no doubt, but the students have really pretty much been the models. I mean, they are taking the social contract seriously, and it's helped us make it through. We have done an incredible job here with a very, very low rate of positives, and we're testing pretty much all the time. So
I know you're testing all the students and most of the faculty and staff, and I know what the numbers are, and I don't want to get into them, but I know that you all are well below the state numbers. So you all obviously done an excellent job there.
Appreciate that.
So out on these walks and jogs, are you taking your dog Blue?
Blue is pretty much a constant companion. Yeah. So
now, what is Blue?
Blue's a mix. He's a retriever, got a little terrier. He's his own creature, I must say. He was a rescue dog. He was pretty much hairless when we got him, but he's grown into a beautiful kind of grayish brown, solid. Looks like a retriever. Looks like a small retriever, but very friendly. He will chase a cat, I must say, but other than that, he is a lover. And loves the students here, loves to walk around, pretty much a comfort animal during a pandemic, if you ask me.
And he has no trouble breaking the ice with students and people here in town?
No, he hasn't met an enemy yet, so he's very friendly. And if you don't like dogs, you're probably in trouble, because he's definitely going to come up and try to get some loving from you. But as long as you're willing to give a few pets, he's going to be your best friend.
All right, let's talk a couple of questions about your former town and a town that's very much in my heart, Memphis. What is your favorite Memphis barbecue spot for lunch?
Well, of course, if anybody in Memphis listens to this, then I've got problems, because we've all got our special. But growing up, or being around Midtown a whole lot, that little Central barbecue place is hard to beat.
Central is really hard to beat.
Yeah.
It's as good as anywhere in town. It's inexpensive. It's fast. It's a humdinger.
And now they have great big outdoor porch to boot, so you hardly can't pass them by without stopping in.
And it was right in the shadow of the Liberty Bowl.
Exactly.
And did you live in Midtown or East Memphis when you were down there?
Part of the time, but we mostly lived a little east.
Okay. What about favorite barbecue place for breakfast?
Well, look, I have a smoker. I've got one of them, big green egg type machines. So I can create my own fantastic barbecue quesadilla. So, and I'm known to eat a little bit of that for breakfast occasionally.
I like Three Little Pigs on Quince for breakfast. They had a really good breakfast takeout. But like you, I've got an egg, and I have developed my own dry rib methodology, because you just can't get it here or anywhere else like you can down there.
Well, I'm going to get an egg in the back of the president's house here, Craig House, and we can have a little competition someday.
Well, we're the home of the Kentucky's Barbecue Festival, so
I'm in.
They haven't asked me to participate yet, but they let me in the gate when they have it. So here's Memphis, in addition to having a wide range of good restaurants, not just barbecue restaurants, also had an incredible music scene. Did you see any memorable musical performances while you lived there?
Memphis is incredible because you don't have to necessarily wait for a show to come into town. you can see some incredible shows just around town, not just on Beale Street, but there's some great other venues where even the house bands are just off the charts. But Sunday nights, kind of interesting on Beale Street when things are kind of settling down a little bit with the tourists heading out, is actually a big local night. So you probably remember this, but yeah, there's some good acts that you can catch on Beale, and I used to like to go down, especially when friends were in town, and you're like, hey, the crowds are going to dissipate, but check out what happens on a late Sunday night. Of course, you have to get up on a Monday morning. Yeah, there's some fine bands down there. One of them, the Green Machine, known locally, is can knock your socks off. So those are my favorite memories, are kind of Sunday nights on Beale. But actually, where I was, that little college, they put on some incredible shows as well. They got a music institute there now that has driven some really fine productions just right there at Rhodes. So also enjoyed being a part of that as a provost.
And I guess since you've been here, there haven't been any shows at the Norton Center.
I went to one back in February when Dina and I were here, and my son Micah, and that was probably one of the last ones before the pandemic broke out. So we're really looking forward to getting the Norton Center fired up again.
That's such an awesome part of this community that we have that level of facility that attracts that level of talent on just a regular basis. I've really missed that, and I know Steve Hoffman has got his Center Culture Plus program that he's trying to keep us occupied until he can fill the seats again.
No, he's doing a great job, and the reality is that they have shows lined up, ready to go. We just have to get a vaccine. But we will be back and filling up the Norton Center as soon as we can.
I can't wait. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're hungry. Would you rather be at Alex's on Jackson Avenue and having a Rocky Burger, or Ernestine and Hazel's on South Main for a Soul Burger?
Well, I do have a little fondness for Ernestine and Hazel, so I'll have to go there.
They had the best jukebox in town.
Yeah, but this is spoken like a true Rhodes student, actually. Your memory is like locked in from when you were 20 years old, because neither one of those things works with my diet anymore.
I haven't had one in the past 20 years myself, but I may have had a Rocky Burger at a homecoming, but I also would have accepted a Paul Bunyan platter from CK's Coffee Shop as a correct answer.
Yeah, there you go.
Dr. Moreland, I'd like to thank you for your time today. Thanks for being a guest on Man About Danville.
My pleasure. Thank you. It's great to be on the show, and look forward to listening to your programs. This is awesome.
But wait, there's more. You know what it's time for. What's up, Danville? Danville. All right, folks, you know the drill. This is where I give you the news you can use for Danville, Boyle County, and the surrounding area. This week, What's Up, Danville is sponsored by Diesel Tech. Diesel Tech recently revamped their website and their Facebook page. Check them out. DieselTechKY.com is the website, and Diesel Tech in Danville, Kentucky on Facebook. They handle large truck diesel maintenance and repair. So whether you're an owner-operator or a fleet manager, they can handle all of your maintenance and repair needs. Check out David Williams and his crack staff of mechanics. They know their way around tractor-trailer, semis, ambulances, fire trucks, school buses, grain delivery trucks, farm vehicles, dump trucks. They know it all. They know what they're doing with large truck diesel engines and everything associated therewith. In sports, Boyle County has a big playoff game against Lexington Catholic on Friday night, assuming the game gets played. The game will be delivered via Team 1 Prep. That's the word team, T-E-A-M, the digit 1 prep.com. I think it's /KY. If you go there, you can check out the stream. And I think their live stream is going to be free this evening. So if you can't go, you can check it out on your TV or your tablet or your phone. The game is sponsored by Diesel Tech, Farmers National Bank, Bostic Dental, maybe some other folks. Through community partners, the game is free to stream tonight. Commonwealth Swim Club Golf Scramble is happening tomorrow, Saturday, November 21st at the beautiful Danville Country Club. It's a phenomenal golf facility. If you've never had the chance to play, see if there is still time to sign up. Looks like it's going to be lovely weather. And you can go play golf even if it's a little cool, because this the Commonwealth swim team is practicing outside at Danville Country Club. They've got the heater on, but let me tell you something. The country club has been gracious enough to let them continue practicing, and they're letting the Danville City School and the Boyle County High School swim teams practice there. If those kids can swim in this kind of weather, surely you can go play a little golf and support the swim club. They are on Facebook. I'll put details in the show notes. Also, Pints for Pets from our friends at the Danville Boyle County Humane Society. If, like Dr. Moreland, you would like to have a rescue service animal, you can find one at the dog or cat, like his dog Blue. You can find one at the Danville Humane Society. The Pints for Pets is their big annual fundraiser. Of course, that's having to go virtual, and it's the pandemic has made a big mess of things. I'm going to give you the website where you can check it out. It is dbchs.org. That's for Danville Boyle County Humane Society.org. dbchs.org. Pints Virtual Events. And I'll put a link in the show notes. But they're doing their online trivia. There's a test drive with Spot at Bob Allen Motor Mall. There's Yappy Hour trivia at Gypsy Run. They've got several events you can participate in person or virtually to help out support our friends at the Danville Boyle County Humane Society. If you have an item related to a not-for-profit organization, a sports activity going on in our community, or something going on in the arts and culture community, and would like for me to discuss it here on Man About Danville, shoot me a message at manaboutdanville@gmail.com. I'll be happy to get it on. That's all my news for this week. I'd like to thank my guest, Dr. Milton Moreland, for joining me. It was very gracious of him to take time out of his busy day. I certainly appreciate his time. I'll try to get links up to everything in the show notes. If you want to get in touch with me about either the show or real estate, manaboutdanville@gmail.com. By the way, there's an opportunity to be my neighbor. You all know that I'm in real estate. That's my real job. Podcasting is just my side hustle. The second floor of the Man About Danville Tower in downtown Danville is currently available. So you could be my office neighbor once again. I sold the building next to me, but now that's left me with a vacant second story. So if you're tired of working from home, come talk to me and we'll hook you up. Actually, if you mention this podcast, Man About Danville, I will give you or whoever you refer. If you send somebody to me that wants a space and they mention Man About Danville, I'll give them half off the first month's rent. No joke. So where can you find me? On my website, manaboutdanville.com. You can email me, manaboutdanville@gmail.com. On Instagram, Man About Danville. Twitter handle, Man Danville. Facebook page, Man About Danville. Oh, yeah, almost forgot. I'm going to be putting in an order for tanks, T-shirts, and hoodies just in time for Christmas. So if you want one of those, send me a message. I'm only going to order as many as I'm only taking pre-orders. I'm not going to order extras, so let me know if you want one. I'm closing the orders down this Sunday. Remember, I'm on my bi-weekly, that's every other week, schedule now for the rest of the year, except for next week. Next Friday, I've got a special Black Friday extravaganza planned, so be sure to tune in, check that one out. Until then, be well, have a good weekend, shop local, eat local, and thank you. Thank you so much for listening.
That's it. We're out. Thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Subscribe to Man About Danville wherever you access your favorite podcasts, and be sure to tell your friends about us. You've been listening to Man About Danville with Logan H. Gurman, brought to you by the Logan Company, a commercial and residential real estate brokerage for Danville and Central Kentucky. Know someone who would be a good guest? Want to be a guest yourself? Have an idea for the show? Get in touch with us. Find all our contact information on the web at manaboutdanville.com. Thanks for joining us.